What's going on, YouTube gamers? Bonfire here, and Battlefront is upon us. As I have been playing Star Wars Battlefront non-stop since I got home from work yesterday, I want to talk about Star Wars Battlefront and give you guys some of my first impressions and takeaways from the beta. And after playing it for a few hours, I definitely have some things that I like about the beta and some things that, well, I feel like need some changing. So one of the first things I noticed when I started up the game were the graphics. And I expected the graphics to be good because I had seen some gameplay, seen some screenshots, but I didn't expect them to be this good. This game looks amazing. There's a lot of detail, the textures look really good, the planets look good, the character models look good, the guns look really good, and the lighting looks awesome. One of the other things that I noticed right away as I started playing my first match is the sound design in the game. It is stellar. They did an awesome job with the sound design, and the sound effects, I'm pretty sure, are taken straight from the movies. Anytime you shoot your gun, you're getting that same exact laser sound, the explosion sound, just like in Star Wars, and you got the music playing in the background. Everything about this game when it comes to the sound is just perfect and so fitting for Star Wars. It really adds to the immersion, and it's awesome. I love it. Another really cool thing that I do have to give DICE credit for are just the little details within this game that really make it Star Wars. A couple things I can think of are when you're transitioning between scenes, the transitions are just like the transitions in Star Wars when they transition between scenes, where it's scrolling up, down, left, right. And the other thing are the sparks. So when you shoot your weapon, you hit the enemies or things explode, there's sparks everywhere. And as you're playing through matches, sparks are flying everywhere, and it's straight out of the movie, and that's awesome. So the biggest thing I wanted to touch on is the gameplay, because that's what everyone's questions are. How does the game feel? How does it play? And I gotta be honest, going into this game, I did have my reservations, because it did kind of seem like it was just going to be a reskinned Battlefield game, maybe another just atypical first-person shooter. But I gotta say, after playing this game, it's not your typical first-person shooter, and it doesn't feel like Battlefield. A couple of things really attribute to that, and the first is that you can't aim down sights like other first-person shooters. You're either hip firing, or you can zoom into your scope to get a little bit more accurate for those longer range shots, but hip firing is the way to go in this game, and that was such a tough adjustment for me, as I'm not that great at hip firing, but that makes it feel like Battlefront. Another way it deviates from the typical first-person shooters is because it offers both first-person and third-person mode, just like the original Battlefront games, and I really like this. I actually prefer playing in third-person mode because you get a wider field of view, and I find it easier to aim from the hip, especially when you're moving and trying not to get hit. It just works better for me, and I like it. It's really cool. The last thing I can think of that helps deviate this game from typical first-person shooters is that you don't reload. You are shooting blaster rifles, and basically they overheat, and once they overheat, you can't use them for a little bit. But it strikes a nice balance between firing your gun, not overheating, and making sure you're taking down your enemies. And that's another weird adjustment you have to get used to, because I'm always wanting to press reload, but you don't need to. That said, there are a couple of things that do keep this game on par with other first-person shooters, such as there's a leveling system, you can create your own classes, there's a variety of different weapons to choose, which I gotta be honest, all the weapons were pretty fun to use that I've used so far, and they all feel pretty balanced. There's also this like perk and secondary item that you can use, and those come in the form of cards in which you earn currency and unlock those. And you can get like a sniper rifle, that's where you get your jetpack, your thermal detonator, which is your grenade. There's a couple other ones in there as well, and those really didn't feel overpowered or really bring in balance to the game. And I kind of like the way they went about it. Now, as far as game modes are concerned, the beta comes with 3 different game modes. You have your survival game mode, which is basically fighting waves of enemies. You have the Walker Assault, which is your big team battle with vehicles. And then you have Drop Zone, which is basically like Hardpoint, where you're capturing escape pods as they're dropping and you get power-ups and stuff. And out of those game modes, I gotta say Drop Zone's my favorite. I prefer the smaller, confined combat areas. There's no vehicles in that. It's just straight-up combat, and I like that. I'm really curious to see what other game modes are going to come out with the final game. I haven't done a lot of research on it, but I'm really hoping they have some game modes that really are on par with the previous Battlefront games. That's one of my slight hesitations about it. I did mention a couple things I don't like, and first and foremost, in Walker Assault, it is completely unbalanced. The Imperials win every single time. It's so hard to win with the Rebels. You just feel so overwhelmed by the Imperials. It almost makes it not fun, but you can do some really cool things in there, so it still has a fun factor, but it sucks always losing. The other thing I really dislike are the spawns, because they're just inconsistent. Sometimes they're really good, other times you're spawning in front of enemies or enemies behind you and in really stupid areas, or where you'll spawn so far away from the objective you have to run a mile to get there. I just don't like that. There are a couple things I would like to see added to the game. First is grenade indicators, because you have no way of knowing if a grenade is near you or how close it is, and that can get frustrating when you die. The second is, I feel like the grenade radius is quite large, and again, when there's a grenade that I don't think is near me yet still kills me, that's a little frustrating. Overall, I'm really enjoying Battlefront way more than I thought I would, and I'm eager to continue playing the game. Now, I still have some reservations, again, with the game not shipping with single-player campaign and not including some of the original game modes that Battlefront is known for. But I'll hold on to those reservations until I do play the final game. But I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about Star Wars Battlefront? Have you played the beta? What do you think about my thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, I hope you'll drop a like. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, because I got more Battlefront, more unboxings heading your way. Until next time, I'm Bonfire, and I will see you online. Hey guys, don't forget about Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter, and hit that button down below.